Great, thanks so much, Tim, and pleasure to be here. I think it's important that we're new to the market. We start off with a bit of background around how we formed as a company and how we landed at the ASX, and then take you through the journey. So, as Tim said, I'm a medical doctor by trade, and during medical school was given a scholarship to do MBA studies while we completed our medical studies. The goal was to come out and address issues in the public health system. One that I've always been really passionate about is hearing. I've been a musician my whole life, and elderly members of my family were starting to suffer hearing loss. So we had a look at how we could simplify a hearing test process. And we set about creating technology that would allow us to do hearing tests in a set of headphones. But along that journey, what we discovered was that we can now understand to really precise and thorough detail how each individual hears in their headphones, and we should use it for more than just a hearing test process. So we left the medical piece aside and focused on enhancing everyone's entertainment and solving problems for people now while we went to continue that medical journey. And the reason we were really excited about it is because of the increase in the incidence of hearing loss, in particular, self-inflicted or noise-induced hearing loss. And if you jump 2 slides for me, please. Next one's just a disclaimer. Great. So as a society, we've become accustomed to the idea that as you get older, you start to lose your hearing. And what we're talking about is half the population over the age of 75. And as a society, becoming accustomed to that means we've become used to the idea that someone can't hear very well, they may or may not need hearing aids, they don't want to get them, it becomes a big issue. The part that really caught our attention, the part that got us passionate about the space, is that hearing loss is not an old person problem. It's a human being problem. Hearing is one of our senses, and they're all individual. Everyone's left ear hears differently to their right. Everyone's capacity to hear across their entire frequency spectrum is individualized to them. And as we started digging into this and learning more about it, we became aware of the fact that it's not just half the population over the age of 75. We're talking about 1 in 5 teenagers. And we've actually run some screening programs at schools and discovered this fact for ourselves. And so we decided, let's use a tool to encourage people to take action earlier and pay attention to their hearing loss. And it's given us the opportunity to start helping our primary target, which are the people that are aware that they're suffering a hearing loss, as well as starting to engage with people who are on a health awareness journey and start them earlier in that piece. So we're talking about 4 million people here in Australia, 50 million in the US, 6% of the global population currently suffering from an identifiable hearing loss that is impacting their quality of life. It also allows us to help some targeted groups like returned military veterans, for which hearing loss is the first and second most commonly sought after medical treatment for returned service people. Next slide, please. Our solution is very simple. You have Bluetooth noise cancelling, high quality headphones that do everything a high quality headphone should do. You put them on, you download the app, you perform a hearing analysis, we show you the result, then we use that result to tailor the sound to meet your individual needs. Once we've profiled your hearing and set it inside the headphone, from that point on, all sound produced by the headphone is tailored to your individual needs. And that unlocks a communication tool, great for video chat, just like the ones I'm using right now for you, TV, phone calls, gaming, listening to your music at high quality, and we take care of it all. They're profiled up for the end user. Next slide, please. And that brings us to the idea of who we're selling our product to. Now, originally, we went directly to the market. We used a crowdfunding campaign called Kickstarter. We sold 100 grand worth on the first day, just shy of $500,000 over our 30-day campaign. And then we set about raising awareness of ourselves as a brand and what our product offering could do. We then earned the right to start supplying Hearing Australia as a government contracted supplier of hearing services here in Australia. So we separate our business model into our end consumer, who's the person who's actually using the product, and then our customers, who are the audiology clinics. So consumers first. Our primary target market, the people we help the most, are those who know they have a hearing loss and they are seeking a solution to that problem. So we've put our product in the place they're seeking that solution, which is in the audiology clinic. The secondary market are people who are health conscious consumers. They're buying our product because of the hearing health awareness element, the safety profile, where they may be mothers of autistic children with NDIS funding. They're coming to us because of the health benefits we can offer from the idea of our health conscious headphones. But when it comes to our primary revenue stream, our customers are audiology clinics. The reason the audiology clinics choose us is because we increase the lifetime value of their customer base. It takes on average 7 years from someone being told they should do something about their hearing to them taking any action about it. So a person has summoned up the courage of being dragged in by the significant other into an audiology clinic, sit down, have a conversation, have a test, walk out empty-handed. We're helping the clinics solve that problem and provide a tool that's going to meet their needs now. So we start the journey early. It's also very important to understand we are not a competitor product to a hearing aid. The capacity of our technology allows us to provide personalization regardless of your hearing ability. So it actually works really well if you have a cochlear implant. If you're already using hearing aids, you can use our headphones over the top, tail them up, and restore your personalized experience so you're getting the best possible experience. Why we like the clinics, as I said before, they're the place where people are actively seeking a solution to their hearing needs. They're also the gatekeeper of 2 really important government-funded initiatives when it comes to our revenue stream. At the beginning of 2019, we started being stocked by Hearing Australia on the back of becoming certified under these 2 schemes. That's the Department of Veterans Affairs Rehabilitations Program and the Hearing Services Program, where you have to see an audiologist to unlock that funding stream. We also became registered with the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which means those on the NDIS can use their funding directly from us. But we like the clinics because it allows us to create quality product, secure contracts with these large international organizations, and then they become our advocate. We have highly qualified audio professionals who are recommending our product to their client base. Next slide, please. Why that's really exciting is that Australia, as in a number of industries, forms a great test bench for these international audiology groups. We have very highly qualified clinicians. We have demographics similar to the US and the UK, to the biggest audiology markets in the world. And we have that smaller market size, which gives them the confidence to try things out and run trials. We use Amplifon as a great example of this. We're stocked in the Amplifon clinics here in Australia. They recently took over the Attune hearing clinics and the Bupa hearing clinics in the last 12 months. So Amplifon have roughly 450 sites here in Australia, but they've got 11,000 globally. And this is an industry run by 5 key players, all of whom have a strong base here in Australia. And as we form relationships with them here, we can transfer those relationships in a stable and secure growth pipeline to supply internationally. Next slide, please. When it comes to our offering here in Australia, as I spoke to, the DVA Rehabilitations Program, and in our instance, the most beneficial to us are those on DVA Gold cards, the NDIS and the HSP. All of the people in these programs can receive our headphones for 0 out-of-pocket expense, which means it's a no-brainer for the clinic to be asking, hey, are you a DVA Gold Card member? You can get benefit from this. Here you go. And we get to provide high-quality product through their network. That's how we scale. That's how we grow. Next slide, please. And this is how we've done it. So we started with Hearing Australia at the beginning of 2019. We then grew that relationship within Hearing Australia and started engaging with some independent clinics. We then bolted on most recently Amplifon, a large international provider here in Australia. And what we see and what we'll be presenting moving forward is the impact of that growth as we start to stack these clinic groups on top of each other. That's how we get the growth. That's how we get the exponential growth, especially as we head internationally. Next slide, please. The metrics that we use to communicate to the market in an understanding of how we're going to grow are the number of clinics stocking our product. These are long-term B2B, well-established relationships that take time to foster, they take time to close, and then they take time to educate, onboard, and establish the selling cycles in these clinics. So while we bring on a clinic number, the revenue stream from those clinics will be seeing over the next 3 to 6 months as they start to educate, onboard, and sell. But since we floated, we continue to grow our clinic numbers, and those numbers grow as we bolt on the remaining clinic groups here in Australia. Next slide, please. We also have established some key beachhead relationships internationally, cornerstoned by Western in the US, who have 16,000 clinics, and a number of others that have been put on ice by COVID that we're looking to rekindle. So that's how we're going to grow. Finish the job here in Australia, and then grow out through those strong partnerships, through our audiology networks internationally. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, James. Got a couple of questions here.
Great.
One's in regards to competitors. There's mention here of, is it Audeara? How are they, how does their product differ from yours?
Yep, so Audeara are a great product who provide a listening experience for the outside world. They act similar to a hearing aid. They're an in-ear product and they listen to the outside world, whereas our focus is on media and communications through the headphones. So as you can see here on the slides, we offer the headphone and the TV transceiver. We're less concerned with listening to the outside world in a conversational cafe style environment. We focus on the media and entertainment space.
And can you elaborate more on the technology, how you're kind of moved from clinics to addressing the secondary market that you described?
Yeah, so our technology is actually the algorithm and the math behind how we are going to adjust the sound based on your individual hearing needs. And that math is put inside readily available chipsets. We essentially strip the guts out of high quality Bluetooth chipsets, and those chipsets can be put in any form factor. So we have the capacity to address multiple markets based on changing the hardware form factor of our product.
And in regards to that, so Bose, who's been here in Australia for a long time, they've just recently shut all their retail stores globally, I believe. What do you have an online focus as a direct-to-consumer sort of model?
We do, and it will start to grow. As we mentioned in some previous presentations, we've been spending $600 a month on Google AdWords, and NDIS makes up a huge portion of our revenue on direct to consumer. So we do have an e-commerce platform, but the heart and soul of our business is on the audiology clinics. And while Bose is shutting down, audiology clinic numbers are actually growing. And these large groups are buying up more clinics and consolidating their footprint. So it's an interesting clinical area. That's why we stay focused on health and hearing health, because those sectors are actually growing.
And in that regard, a technical question here, how the headphone frequency range is tailored, and can you tell us about the customer experience? Do they need several visits to the facility, or is there a more convenient setup?
So the first initiation of our products, so our first 5,000-6,000 customers, the headphones are sent to them, e-commerce, you come online, buy them, we send them to your house, you download the app and you do it in the comfort of your own living room. So it's a single point activity where you perform the hearing analysis yourself on your app, you see the result, and then you flash the headphone. So you don't need to engage with a clinician to get the outcome. You can do it by yourself at home. The benefit of the clinics is that for those who may not be capable, whether it be lack of smartphone, lack of confidence, intellectual capability, for whatever reason they may be unable to utilize the smartphone themselves, the clinician can actually utilize their existing hearing test to flash and personalize the headphones for that customer base.